Yes, people. Good night. Good night. How's everybody today? Wow, how's everybody? Had a good night so far? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I just want to reach out before I hit the sack and encourage you and be encouraged. There's a lot going on in the world today. There are a lot of attacks that are being levied towards the gay community in Bermuda, in the United States, and continuing around the world. And I think it's important for us to reach out and connect with each other and encourage each other to be true to ourselves, to be true to our dreams, and more importantly, to be true to what we want to see in this world. Many will try to categorize us and put us in boxes and try to put us down, to try to label us and keep us boxed away. But the reality is we're here. We make up a large section of the world, of the community, of our communities. We're good people, and we should be encouraged, and we should encourage each other. Sometimes, Periscope be bugging, and I don't know if it's just my Android phone or Periscope period, but I can't tell if anybody's there sometimes. So if anybody is there, send me some hearts and let me know that you're there and that you're listening. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you for the hearts, letting me know that you're there. Recently I've been listening a lot to the religious banter around this whole question of sexuality. And I've been very disappointed. Hey, love. I've been very disappointed at the harsh reaction from the religious community. Sometimes I wonder if they understand that they are a reflection of God's love. And if God is a God of love, then help me understand the viciousness with which some religious entities try to attack those in the LGBT community. Help me understand that, because it baffles me. It baffles me a lot. And here's why. I believe in religious freedom. And I believe you have absolutely the right to do as you wish inside of your religious organization. But what I can't understand is why those organizations feel compelled to dictate to the rest of us in society how we should live, and to go as far as prevent governments from giving the rights that is rightfully earned through citizenship to all members of their country. I can't wrap my head around that for the life of me. I mean, I get it. You don't believe in it. I'm not suggesting that you marry somebody of the opposite sex. Whatever you want to do. Yes, the church has a duty to maintain those principles within its walls, within their walls, within their organizations, and to those people, who are affiliate with them. And those people who are affiliate with them have an obligation to maintain those rules and responsibilities within their households. But they don't have the right to inflict their beliefs on others. Religion is a choice. Religion is a choice. And this is why we have this type of chaos around the world, because the dominant religions in every country want to influence their beliefs on the citizens of those countries. Look at the Middle East. That's how they operate. That's why they are forever in conflict. If I choose a religion and I go into that religion and I adhere to those religious beliefs, then that is my right. But I don't have the right to force it on somebody else. I can say it, but I don't have the right to enforce it. And when you pressure a government to adhere to your religious principles, that is forcing it on someone. And I am certain that is not what God intended. I am certain that is not what God intended. Hey, Bobby Saliwan. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. And so how can you tell? Yeah, you do. I'm glad that you're catching me live this time. And this is an interesting topic too, because I want someone to explain to me, and I haven't had one religious person do it yet, explain to me how they have a right to influence their religious beliefs on a whole society. But yet, when society hits back and tries to force something on them, they throw up the Human Rights Act and say, wait a second. We have protection of religious freedom under the Human Rights Act. So the same Human Rights Act they're trying to deny to the LGBT community is the same Human Rights Act they themselves are protected under. Exactly. That is my point. True religion should never want to force itself on anyone. It should be a choice. So because I don't choose your religion, you get to dictate how I manifest my love. Because I don't choose your religion, you think you have the right to dictate how I express my love. It reminds me of the story of the Pharisees and the Sadducees way back in Bible times, according to the Bible, how they thought they were holier than thou. And they went about dictating on how people should live. And Jesus came along and said, wait a second. Judge not that you be judged. You don't have the right to judge. Only one person has the right to judge. And let's say, as I've said many times, let's say that religions do have the right to judge. Why don't they start within? because there is more adultery, fornication, lying, thievery, drunkenness, pedophilia, all kind of stuff behind the church walls. And I don't see anybody protesting against that. In fact, I often see it covered up, and those that try to talk about it are chastised. It's always a do as I say and not as I do mentality. Eh? What you guys think? I get frustrated and disappointed when I see religious people so fervent about this issue of sexuality, but so lenient and understanding. Well, if the church doesn't condone those things, why don't they set up organizations to protest against them like they have set up organizations to protest against gay marriage? If the churches don't condone those things, why don't they invest their money in stopping governments from conducting divorces that don't have fornication as a grounds? If the churches don't condone those things, how come I don't see the churches kick people or discourage people who are fornicators from coming into their entity? I put it to you, I would argue against that, Chrissy B. I would argue against that. For example, I give you the prime example of the recent one of Bishop Long. Bishop Long, who was an avid preacher against homosexuality, who was an avid preacher against sexuality, only to find out that he himself was interfering with little boys. And today still has one of the biggest mega churches ever. You have many a priest that has interfered with children who is still able to preach from the pulpit, if not their pulpit, that just moved somewhere else. And in my country, in Bermuda, I always say that the religious community should be thankful that the LGBT community is a very passive community, because if they weren't, if they were in the business of outing people, a lot of churches and religious entities would be severely affected, from the Anglican to the AME to the Seventh-day Adventists to the Episcopals to the Church of God to the Catholic. A lot of them would shamefully be outed with nothing to say. But this LGBT community in Bermuda has never been about outing people, and rightfully so. But that doesn't mean that those hypocrites don't exist behind the cloth. And whenever it is exposed, you get that famous, again, do as I say and not as I do. And so we have to continue to ask ourselves, and I'm not suggesting that outing take place, Let me be clear about that. I don't want anybody to think that I'm suggesting that we start outing people. Not at all. But what I am saying is that the church's stance is hypocritical because they will not deal with the actual issues within their own organization before they decide to go out and dictate to the rest of the community what they believe is the truth. What they believe is the truth. The Bible has many instances of persons that were allowed to have multiple wives. And there is a religious entity in Bermuda who has strong beliefs in that area. But yet those that believe in one wife, male and female, have dictated how the law should be. So are you saying that that religious entity is not entitled to their strong beliefs? And that's the point, you know. What is the truth? Everybody believes that what they are learning and their interpretation of the Bible is the truth. Well, if it's not published, then it's not obvious. And I can tell you that as long as I've lived in this country, I've only seen the church take a stand against two things publicly. One is gay marriage, and two was grocery stores opening up on a Sunday selling alcohol. Oh, that's not true. One other thing they took a stand was against gaming and gambling. That's the only three things I've ever seen the churches take a public stand against. I have never seen any one of them stand up publicly and say adultery and fornication is wrong and unacceptable. I've never seen any of them stand up publicly and say, we challenge the laws that allow you to divorce outside of fornication. I've never seen any one of them stand up publicly and say, we are absolutely against abortion because that's what the Bible says. I've never seen any of them stand up and say, we abhor people that steal and lie and cheat. Never. And you know why? Because they would barely have anybody in their congregations if they took such a stand. So you might tell me that they preach those things within the pulpit, and I have no doubt that they do. But we're talking about a public stand in which they put money and advertisement and effort into discriminating against a sector of the country. That can't be right. And you know what's sad? What's sad is this country has some real issues outside of who I, as a gay person, choose to love. We have some real issues. And the churches have been silent on those issues. I don't see the church taking up money to attack the gang problem that we have in this country. I don't see the churches taking up money to attack the drug problem that we have in this country. I don't see the churches taking up funds to talk about helping with the economic poverty that has now been created in this country. And again, you might say, well, they do it within their own organization. And maybe they do. but they haven't publicly done it because they're too busy publicly trying to keep me from the person that I love. And they can make all the excuses for it that they want, but at the end of the day, it's really that simple. It's really that simple. That the churches and the religious entities within this country cherry pick on sin. They cherry pick on sin, and the Bible doesn't, but they do. Anyway, peoples, that's my spiel. But I digressed for what I came on here for, and that was to encourage us as a gay family to remember that the doors get better and that we must continue to encourage each other. And we must remember that we are not a mistake, that we too are God's creation. Peace, hon. We too are God's creation. We too were made in His image. And we too love and are a reflection of God's love. And let no religion keep us from the covering of God's love. And shame on any religion that does. Shame on them if they keep you from the love of God. All right, people, I'm out of here. Thank you. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And so are you. All right, Henry, you're quiet tonight. I see you there. I hope all is well, Mr. Mayor. I hope all is well, my friend. Have a great night, people. And I will see you, Chrissy B. I will see you, Henry. I will see you, Bobby, and another broadcast. Peace.